So we are going to first use the layer weight node. Layer weight node comes with two options. First is frontal and second is facing. They both are very similar but with different calculation and can give you different results based on your situation. It has a built-in slider which defaults at 2.5 and can manipulate it by sliding. What can we do with it? So if you add a color node, you can make it a constant highlight effect. As you can see, it's covering the whole area, which is what it should do. But what we want here, we want to create a highlight according to our light source. So first we are going to create a default toon shader or cell shader, you can say. And after that, we are going to enable our light source. And you can see we have a simple toon shader. And if we multiply the shadow of our toon shader with our layer weight node, let's set it to multiply. You can see we are only getting the highlight effect. It's on our light source. It can be manipulated or can be blended with your color and preferences. And it's very easy to use. And we are going to use an example to how can you use it in your own scene. If you see in this scene, I'm using the same method I showed you before. See the pencil shader, and I'm multiplying the shadow of toon shader and adding it to our hand shaders. You can see a barely highlight which make a difference in your shader. I really like to use that and it can be really helpful for shading purposes. And I am also using it on our can shader. It's not so subtle, but it can be used to create some variation for your object so it won't look totally flat, and it can be very helpful for to create your render more appealing. You can see the highlights of our hands and on the ring as well. It's from the layer weight node and it's done with, we are done with it. So we are going to jump to the render process. If you click on that drop down arrow, you can see there is written render process and give you bunch of options. There are the lots of paths you can use, like emission, which only have emission shaders, environment, ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion work if you have enable ambient occlusion and there are more than one object in your scene. There is a, let's make it our base film. There is also shadow, which will give shadow effect from the light sources. There is a bloom effect. And there are most of them, but we are going to use ambient occlusion, shadow and bloom. You have to enable it in the process menu. Let's give a shader material to our ground as well. I'm just duplicating our previous shader. I'm adding a hue saturation node and just tweaking the value. So how to use that? If you go to compositing, you have to enable use nodes. I'll add a viewer node and disable the backdrop. You don't need it. That's it. I will render the scene with scene passes. You can see there are multiple passes on there. And we are going to use this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a mix shader and shadow. I'm going to multiply it. So this is what we should do, but we are going to more creative than this. I'm going to add a color amp and tweak the values to get a smooth transition. Maybe our shadow's resolution was pretty low and giving us a jagged shadow effect. So let's stick with it for now. I'm adding a mix shader. I plug the color amp factor. You can see the shadow bar is separated. What I'm going to do, I'm adding a hue saturation node and plug it here. And what I can do, I can manipulate the shadow colors now. I can increase the saturation, decrease the brightness of the shadows, and we can go very creative with it. We are going to same with ambient occlusion. I mean adding a color amp, and if you go to constant, you can see we are getting some good looking called cells shadows. I'm going to multiply it, and you can see we are getting some pretty nice shadows. And how to use bloom. I'm going to add an exposure node, increasing the value to 2, and just adding it to our scene. It can give us pretty nice bloom effect, which can blend our object to the environment. So how should we use it in our actual scene? So if we go back to our can scene, you can see I use lots of material, but most of them are the same method I use. So we are multiplying them in occlusion. You can see the shadows, cell shadows, which can gives much more detail to your simple things. You can see the shadow effects and how much different it can make to your scenes. Passes are essential to use because only cell shadow won't give you any results. So just like we use the Blender composition, we can use Blender layer system. So for now I want a different light source for our blue wall. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to new collection and put our primary light source here and name it light for red. And I'm going to add another collection and name it light for blue. Now I'm going to add a new layer and copy setting. So I'm going to disable light for red and enable the light for blue collection. Add a light and sun lamp for our blue object. And I need to put those objects in different collection. So what I'm gonna do, I'm grabbing those two and adding a different collection for both of them. So you have to enable hold out for that. You can see hold out. I'm holding out the object beside blue, and in our scene first layer I'm just disabling the blue ball. What I'm gonna do is in the film enable transparency or it won't work correctly. So render our scene. So both layers are rendered. Duplicate the scene layer and select the second layer we just created. So what are we gonna do is drag it here. Add a color over node. Join it here, and you can see we are getting both the scene now. Layers. I mean, go to layers on the segment. I need to disable the other lights as well. So you can see that's how we can use multiple light sources in one scene. In cycle there is light linking method right now, but further you have to go with that.